did you know we can only detect about 5% of the matter in the universe? The rest is made up of invisible matter, called dark matter, and a mysterious form of energy known as dark energy. And also, did you know that light from distant stars and galaxies takes so long to reach us that we are actually seeing these objects as they appeared in the past? When we look up into the sky, we are really looking back in time. These ideas wouldn't even be fathomable without the centuries of developments in science and space exploration. Humans have been working for ages to further understand the secrets of space and why we matter. Johannes Vermeer's Astronomer captures the spirit of exploration and technological advances during the 17th century, unlike any other artist at the time. This piece, one out of only 40 of Vermeer's works, displays his technical virtuosity and many of his trademark styles, which adds its tremendous value. It serves to inspire viewers today and scientists alike because of its history and unprecedented use of science and art. Johannes Vermeer was born in 1632 in Holland, one of the most powerful countries in Europe at the time. The Dutch had just won their independence over an 80-year war with Spanish rulers and were excited to display their culture and artistic ability to the world. In the 1600s, the Dutch were also well known for their discoveries in science, medicine, and art. Holland was the epicenter for the golden age of art, and Vermeer was exposed to dozens of world-famous artists at a young age that influenced him. Some of the artists that influenced Vermeer include Frans Hals, Rembrandt, Pieter de Hooch, Jan Steen, and Gerard ter Borch. Though there isn't much said about Vermeer's childhood, it is told that Mr. Vermeer, Johannes' father, worked an inn and was an art dealer and helped expose Vermeer to all the famous artists at the time. During this golden age of art, many artists began to create works about everyday life instead of just biblical scenes and royal portraits. Now that the Dutch had gained their independence, they could paint about whatever pleased them, not whatever pleased the Spanish kings. These paintings were called genre paintings and soon became very popular in households all over Europe. Initially, it was clear that Vermeer was influenced by Catholicism, but he soon matured into a more exploratory artist. One of Johannes Vermeer's first paintings was a genre painting, A Maid Asleep. This painting demonstrates many recurring qualities of Vermeer's paintings. He often included a decorative tablecloth, an interesting still life on top of the table to demonstrate his technical skill. He also included well-to-do women doing simple activities or in moment of contemplation. When Vermeer turned 20, his father died, and he was put in charge of the inn and his father's art business. On top of this, he married the love of his life, Catharina Bolnes, just a year later. Johannes remained very devoted to his wife and maintained a simple love life compared to many other artists. This marriage was the single most important event of Vermeer's life and greatly affected the way he painted. Historians interpret the graceful, strong, and angelic-like woman in his paintings as a tribute to Catharina. Vermeer's career as an artist truly began after his marriage, up until his death. In just 20 years, Vermeer created nearly 40 masterpieces with women as his subject. Only 2 of his paintings have a male figure. The pair of paintings, The Astronomer and The Geographer. Created in 1668 and 1669, these paintings were created near the end of Vermeer's life and are representative of a man's discoveries of science and technological advances of the 17th century. The Astronomer reflects the developed passion for science in the 17th century by the Dutch. The man in the painting is surrounded by the finest scientific instruments of the time and presents to the viewer Vermeer's ideal scholar. Deep in concentration, the astronomer is lost in thought about the endlessness of space and has an air of introspectiveness about him.
During this time in his life, Vermeer was very acquainted with Antony van Leeuwenhoek, the Dutch inventor of the microscope, and historians claim that Antony may have been the inspiration for the astronomer. This painting was meant to symbolize the virtue of scientific learning and not just a man in a room with a globe. Vermeer studied various scientific studies, including concepts of light. His findings had a tremendous effect on his painting style. Similar to his other paintings, the scientist is placed next to a window, allowing the light to hit the subject's face in such a way that it displays the man's insight and nervousness. The moment of discovery on the scientist's face captures centuries of human interest with the universe. In this 50 by 45 centimeter painting, Vermeer beautifully depicts the excitement of discovery, an important and controversial concept in the 17th century. At a time when many still believed the world was flat, Vermeer was pushing ideas of worlds beyond our own into the art community. The emotions present in The Astronomer are still imitated today by scientists of all types all over the world. The family of Peter van Rooyen accumulated the largest collection of Vermeer paintings and auctioned them off after his death. Over the course of 150 years, Vermeer's paintings would become a part of numerous collections across Europe and collect praise from all of its different owners. Though many of Vermeer's works traveled all over Europe, one of his more notable works, The Astronomer, was mainly brought around Amsterdam in England. Adrian Payet I was the first person to ever buy the painting from Vermeer in 1669 and kept it until he gave it to his son Adrian Payet II in 1686. The Astronomer was continuously sold around Amsterdam every few years until the early 19th century, when it was sold to London to Michael Bryan. Many of Vermeer's paintings were actually sold under a different artist's name because his name had nearly died out and the value of the painting increased when sold under a different artist's name. For example, in 1742, The Girl Reading a Letter at an Open Window was sold as a Rembrandt painting. After his death and until the 19th century, Vermeer was nearly forgotten in the art community due to his short artistic career and small amount of paintings. In 1816, Roland van Eden and Adrian van der Wilgen pushed a scholarly article on Johannes Vermeer and claimed his artwork deserved a place in the most distinguished collections of art. One particular painting they praised, View of the Delft, became so highly sought after that the Dutch King William I insisted he have it for his royal collection in the Hague Museum. This publishment brought Vermeer's work back into the limelight just as the Realist movement and Impressionist movement began. Both heavily influenced by Vermeer's realistic portrayal in everyday life and his extensive study of light and its effect on his painting subjects. Even Vincent van Gogh became fascinated by Vermeer and his use of bright colors in his paintings. At the end of the 19th century, The Astronomer was sold to Alphonse de Rothschild and became a staple of the Rothschild family until the mid-20th century. It was passed on to his son, Edward de Rothschild, in 1905 after Alphonse's death. It would remain with the Rothschild family until it would be seized by Nazi art collectors in the 1940s. During World War II, the Nazis worked tirelessly to confiscate artwork from European collections and private Jewish collections for the Führer, Adolf Hitler. Soon after France was invaded in 1940, The Astronomer was taken from the Rothschild residence due to their Jewish beliefs and held in the Jeu de Paume Museum as property of the Third Reich. Now owned by the Nazi Party, the painting was stamped with a small black swastika on the backside of the frame. The painting would be transferred in train cars around France and eventually ended up in Austria in the Alsace-Moselle. This is where many other paintings were held that were meant to be a part of Hitler's private collection. Some works included the Ghent altarpiece, Bruges Madonna, and over 6,500 other works of art, books, statues, and furniture. 5 years after the painting had been taken from the Rothschild family by the Nazi Party, it was finally rescued from its obscure location in the Alsace-Moselle by the Monuments Men. Created from 13 nations, this group of museum and art experts worked to save as much European culture they possibly could during the Second World War. This miraculous and overwhelming discovery of European works helped reunite The Astronomer with the son of its last owner, Guy de Rothschild, in 1949. The painting would remain with Guy until he'd give it to the French state government in order to pay off his inheritance tax in 1983. The government turned the painting over to the Louvre, where it has been hung and appreciated ever since. People from all over the world travel in and out of the Louvre every day and are able to admire the work of Johannes Vermeer. His influence on 19th century artists and timeless themes can still be admired today by art aficionados and museum strollers alike. Even today, the excitement of discovery and newly found knowledge portrayed in The Astronomer is able to inspire artists and scientists. Vermeer's painting continues to grow in value, artistically and monetarily each year it is hung in the Louvre. The time period of its creation and controversialness of its scientific themes contributes to its importance in society. The extensive provenance and almost fatal encounter with the Nazis proves that this piece of art is one to fight for. The Astronomer still stands today as an influential and inspiring piece of art that could never be replaced.